Good afternoon, folks. Jordan here at the Nutty Gnome Homestead. Today is July 3rd, 2025, and we are out here next to our greenhouse getting ready to propagate a couple plants. Now, the method I'm going to be showing you guys how to use today is going to be effective on many different plants, not just what I'm going to be using. We got some Chicago Hardy figs here. I've used this method on blackberries, I've used it on raspberries, I've used it on tomato plants. I've used it on many different plants that can be propagated with a cutting. What we're going to do today is called air layering. We're going to actually grow a new plant off of the plant while it is still attached to the mother plant. I know it sounds kind of weird, but guys, this works, and it works very slick, and it's really kind of neat to see. So I'm going to get you guys in here close, and I'm going to show you how we get this done. Now, to do this, you only need a couple of tools. We have a pair of pruners or a sharp knife or something that you guys can work on the main stem with. We have a little brush of some sort. I don't particularly like these little foam brushes for this, but it's what I have on hand. And we have a rooting hormone. This is Hormidon 3. It works really well, but I've also used Clonex. I've used several of the other ones. They all work to some degree, guys. But what I really want to show you is these little rooting pods. They come in different varieties, different styles, but they're all pretty much the same. This is an opaque one. Has a little compartment that you fill with some sort of medium, and you wrap it around the branch of your plant that you're wanting to propagate. This one actually has a little clip on the side, works really well. Now, this method works really good with roses too. We propagate quite a few roses here, and it works. It's really slick how it works, guys. I don't know how other to describe it. It's almost like magic. Basically, all we're going to do is we're going to damage the bark layer, get down to the cambium. We're going to put a little bit of our rooting hormone on, put this little air layer pod around it, and wait 4 weeks. Guys, it really is that simple. Now, this is one of my Chicago Hardy figs. And you guys can see we've got the new growth up here. This is starting to lignify, and this is what's left over from last year's growth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this little fig off right here. This is growing in a container. I don't want it here. I want to actually turn this into a new plant. So I'm going to actually take this leaf off of it. The reason I'm going to do this is because this little node right here is where the most amount of undifferentiated cells are. That's where we're going to get a lot of our roots. Anytime you've got a node, that's where you're going to have a lot of those high concentrations of undifferentiated cells. So I'm going to take a knife, a pair of pruning shears, whatever you have, just make sure it's been sanitized. And I'm going to just scrape through the cambium layer about an inch. I'm not going to get that node itself, but I'll scrape up to it. We're going to go all the way around this branch. And you don't have to go too crazy, guys. Figs root really, really easy. And you guys see this here? That's all we're going to do. Now we're going to take some of our rooting hormone, and we're going to brush it in that wound all the way around. Get it on there. Figs don't really need this. They root very, very easy. Now here comes the fun part. I have a handful of pre-moistened potting mix, mostly peat moss. There's a little bit of vermiculite in this. We're going to squeeze out a lot of the water to where it's just damp, but not dripping. And we're going to just shove it into this rooting pod here. We want to make sure we fill up both cavities. Get a little more. Make sure our hinge can shut. I think it needs just topped off a little bit more. We're looking to have a nice even contact of this potting mix on both sides. Now guys, let me show you how easy this is. Get you here in the frame. I'm going to put it right on that wound that we made where we scraped it. I'm going to center it up, put it on. Make sure you get it nice and tight and snap it. Guys, that is how easy it is to propagate a plant. Now here's one that we did a couple of weeks ago, and I'll actually get a light in here. You see those little white lines and striations in here? All of those are new roots forming underneath this rooting pod. It's not quite ready for me to cut off yet, but once it's ready, I will clip just below the pod, right down here, and I will actually plant this entire stem, and it will create a new Chicago hardy fig plant. Guys, it really is that simple. Gardening and propagation doesn't have to be that difficult. This fig right here was propagated the exact same way this past fall. It overwintered in the house. We brought it out here, we planted it, and it has grown a solid 4.5 feet in this pot since we planted it. It's that easy to make propagations from your plants. Now, not all plants are going to propagate. Like I said, plants in the berry family, like your blackberries and raspberries, are going to propagate real well. You're also going to have your roses. They're going to propagate real well like this. Heck, even your tomatoes in your garden, you can propagate like this. Tomatoes put off roots like crazy. Anybody can do this. Folks, to buy these plants, they're $20, $30, $40 in the store, depending on how big you get them. A plant this size will cost you at least $40. Some of these other ones, $60, $70. We can have some of the tiny little ones. Guys, like I've got tiny little figs here in front of me. These little figs here, once ever they get just a little bit bigger, I'm going to make new propagations off of them. It really is that simple to make new plants from what you already have and save yourself a ton of money. Now, you'll want to make sure that you keep your rooting pod well watered during this time period. This next 3 to 4 weeks, you don't want it to dry out. You want to make sure it stays moist but not dripping wet. It does have a little bit of opening at the top, so if you get a little bit of rain, it does run down there, but I try to go by once a day with a watering can and make sure I direct some water right into that rooting pod. We want to make sure that soil stays moist. It's going to help those roots start popping out. And since we have the nice loose medium like the peat moss or the cocoa core or the mixture with perlite or vermiculite, it really is going to make it to where those roots can push through that soil real easy and get you a nice root ball ready to create a new plant. All right, folks, so there you have it. That is a quick and easy way of how we propagate plants and make new plants here on the homestead. It works great with blackberries, raspberries, figs, roses. A lot of your other ornamentals are the same way. Heck, you can even use it on your tomato plants. Tomatoes, they root very easily. You don't even need these little things. These pods that I have, they work great, but you can also get generic kinds off of Amazon. I'll leave a link down below. They work okay, guys. Just make sure you keep your medium moist. You want to make sure that it doesn't dry out, because if they dry out, the roots are going to dry out and it's not going to take. So if you guys have any questions or comments about air layering your plants, whether it's your blackberries or your fig trees or your roses, leave us a message down below or contact us over on 99 Gnome Homestead on Facebook. And if you haven't done so already, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It really does help us out. Share this video, get it out there to all those other plant lovers. Make sure that they see how easy it is to propagate new plants. And if you don't need the propagations, be sure to trade them with a neighbor. I'm sure they'll appreciate having some fruit plants or some flowers in their life. So until next time, get propagating, guys. We don't know what this world's going to go to, but we can definitely make it a prettier place. Y'all stay safe.